is my husband, Craig Reed, who has practiced organization development skills as a supervisor at Pallet One and now a manager of the company in New Boston, Texas. When you were a supervisor, what was the scene coming into the organization?
There were many workers that did not feel the team experience that is needed in a working environment such as Pallet One.
Okay, so did you find it important that they needed to work as a team?
Yes.
For the company?
Yes, absolutely. It's production line with 10, where I was over, starting out was 10 to 15 people, and it's one person sending lumber down the line to the next person, so it's very integral that they have an eye on what each other is doing to keep the process moving smoothly.
Okay, and so besides just having team for the cohesion of the production line and that part of the company, would it be beneficial if the team members also worked better together as almost like a community in their work environment?
Yes, absolutely.
If they felt comfortable with each other, would they work as a better team?
Yes, that is essential, that they feel a brotherhood of sorts, with the people that they work with.
To really provide for like the most product per day that y'all produce, to just increase the actual company's physical benefit of making more money.
Yes, absolutely.
Essentially why it's the main reason why it's important.
Right.
That's the main reason, because if you want a good company, you need to have these kinds of qualities.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you were in that supervisor position, did you do anything to implement total quality management, where you would be trying to motivate employees to work their best and their hardest to provide the company with an efficient and reliable environment?
Yeah, it started out, kind of making that bond with each individual employee,
right.
Even getting in there and doing the job with them, just to get a feel for what they're actually doing. It's a very physically demanding job, and it's important that their superiors recognize that and give them the credit that they deserve, and that's really the first way to make that relationship better, is to understand where they're coming from and what they're doing, and how hard they're working. And when I first started, these individuals have been kind of overlooked and just put in a corner, and nobody didn't feel like anybody cared for them. And that was my first obstacle, was getting to know them and getting their trust, And so that's where it started. And then I would do, like, if we had to come in on Saturdays, I would bring lunch for everybody, or bring breakfast.
To help motivate them.
Yeah, and we would have a meeting, and they really felt appreciated.
You started a meeting off for the day or for the middle of the shift.
Yeah, like a
something.
safety meeting. Around 15 minutes before shift started, and kind of give them an idea of what we had to get accomplished that day.
So you came into a very rough environment.
Yeah, there was no communication. They didn't know what they were doing for that day. It was very, very tough working environment. But it's gotten better. I feel like I made a big improvement on them. After being there for a few weeks, we had one of our biggest days of production, from what I heard, that they had in 5 years or so.
Okay, so your efforts in building a relationship with the employees and the amount of time that you were supervising this group of employees, you did see some benefit in their work environment when you did provide things like incentives.
Yes, absolutely.
Or just building a relationship. Maybe,
right.
You came into work, everybody was feeling good that day, had that bond, and it was a good production day. Did that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and so as a manager of Pallet One now, you're kind of going into another rough position, and you're going to have to use some techniques to help the organization become more cohesive in their internal affairs, mainly to increase the external product
Right,
of
absolutely.
the company.
And it all boils down to communication, and everyone agrees on that. We had previously had people in this department who were in an office across this side of the plant and over here, and in a separate building out there. And what we're doing now is moving everyone together so that we're all in the same place, working with each other every day, seeing them face to face, building that relationship, to encourage better communication between the upper level employees, the
Between
supervisors.
everybody that's working. As a manager of Pallet one of your techniques for organizational development was to pull all employees closer for communication purposes. Is there any other management or organizational development techniques that you are pulling in internally, and you're pulling them in internally to develop a more cohesive team with your employees?
Yeah, we do some incentive programs. One is what we call piecework, where for each stick of lumber that they cut back, they get a certain percentage of the profit, say 1 cent per board or something like that, just to be, just for example. And they may cut, 600 boards an hour, and then they split that between, they probably do more than 600.
Is that something that they do, is it all the time, or is it extra
All
time
the
they
time.
put in and they can get the money off?
All the time, every piece of lumber that they cut, they get a piece of profit, and so there's really no limit to how much money they can make. The harder that they work, the better that they work as a team, the more money that they stand to make per hour, and doing their preventative maintenance and stuff.
Do you think providing total quality management as a manager is important? That providing your employees with means of being a more cohesive team by making them move closer together so they can communicate, by providing incentives for them to work harder, is that important to running a highly productive company?
Absolutely. You really have to keep your employees happy, and that it's a triple.
Why do you think that it's important to make your employees happy to have a productive company?
Because nobody wants to go to a place and work for 10 hours a day or 9 hours a day at a place that they hate, that they don't want to be there, they don't care to see their superior and say hi.
They don't care about if they're providing quality work for the company.
Right, exactly. They don't see the good that they're doing, and being a part of that team.
Do you think that everything you just said provides for a more profitable company?
Oh, absolutely.
For the employees to be working well together through this total quality management system shows benefits in the numbers on the paper.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We've started having some of our best months as far as profitability, in recent, since the beginning of this year, really. And the 3 years before that has been really tough for the company. They've lost money, and it's just, I don't know if I should say that. Actually, they've been losing money, but at this facility they have.
Okay, well, thank you.